All right, so this is week 14 of writing a book, and this will be kind of a shorter update compared to others that I've done because I really haven't done anything of much note. I continued my work on the illustrations that I did or started last week, which is of the GMC New Look bus profile operated by Kent State. So I'm just take a little look at that and show the update and how much time has been spent getting to this point. And then I'll talk a little bit about using, interviews and kind of how I'm doing that at this point. So let's take a look at my illustration and where that's at. Okay, so this is the illustration as it stands now. It still has the overlay on the image. And the one thing I like about it at this stage is that clearly the work I'm doing kind of blends into the image, which kind of gives me a warm fuzzy that it's actually an accurate reproduction of that. So if I turn off the background image, you can kind of see what I have. So I've kind of done the side skirts, I've kind of got the windows done. Some of the additional stuff like some lighting I've expanded upon, and I'm kind of adding the colors as I go. So the side skirts make up a big part of that. So I have all of those done. Again, some of the side panel lines, some of the little doors and stuff that are on the bus. Something new for me, and I'm fairly happy with how it turned out, but was the side skirts. I used some new features of how to apply a gradient to it so I can kind of make it so it looks like it's still kind of rounded. But yeah, so those look pretty good with that. And the side bumper. So yeah, the windows, my plan is to do 2 different liveries that Kent State operated. And this should apply for both. There will be some small differences that I'll need to account for, like the windows in the earlier buses didn't have really any tinting to them. You can see right through them. So I'll have to make some different windows, or at least get rid of the tinting so you can see through it a little bit better. Yeah, so that's about it. So it's a little bit more side windows. I have the standee windows to go, and then obviously the actual body portion of it, I'll do a little bit more work on that because again, as I discovered last week, I'm not 100% confident that this outline that I came up with initially doesn't have any distortion to it, which, as my wife said, that's why do I care that much about it? But hey, I'm here and I have time, so I might as well spend on it. So I need to get some new photos of the front of the bus, just to kind of, I don't think my window is quite right on the other one. So I need to do that. The other thing too is that I keep forgetting that this bus is missing its side rear view mirror. It was stolen when it was parked somewhere, and I need to remember to put that back into the illustration. Unfortunate, but I do have a little memory aid to try to remember to do that later. So anyway, so that's kind of the bus. Part of that will also be doing the lettering, and this is kind of where some of the research has come into play, and that I found among some of the special collections at Kent State, their paperwork, a document here that talks about the work that they had done to these buses years ago, and in it tells what kind of font that they used, in particular what kind of sticker they used to make the numbers. So I know that's a Helvetica Bold, so I just need to get the Helvetica font, and I can accurately recreate the number, the unit number on the side of the bus, so I don't have to go in and trace it out, which is one way of doing it, but so much more labor intensive than actually just typing in the font that I have. So that'll be fun. I'm not 100% sure what the font is for the campus bus service. I've been playing around with some kind of generic fonts, and they're not quite right. So I'm wondering if that also will fall within the Helvetica family. So if I get the Helvetica font size or font package, that one of those may be that. So my fingers are kind of crossed on it. And again, I can go in and just trace it out, but I'd really rather not because it's a lot of time spent on that. So anyway, so that's kind of the profile at this point. Time spent on this. let's see, this is 16 and a half hours of work, a little bit over. Originally I was thinking like, maybe 30 to 40, so that might be about right still. I'm probably at the halfway point, maybe a little bit past that, and we'll see how that goes. So, it's a lot of work, but it's a passion, something I find interesting, so I don't mind investing the time in it. So that's really the profile. Continue to work on that, and then interviews. That's been something new for me. Yeah, so the interviews have really started up this last week, which has been great. So previously I had one interview kind of lined up, and that kind of got started until the coronavirus shut everything down. So I actually only got half that interview done. So that one's still in limbo. Trying to do that one in person, but I think we need to really wait until there's some relief on non-essential travel and getting together with people. So if that goes on too long, I'd really like to try to push that into doing a phone interview, which is what the other ones have been. So phone interviews have started, and there's been some trial and error with how to do that. I've ended up actually using Google Voice. Originally I was kind of not as keen on it, but it's worked out wonderfully. So I'm going to continue with that, and I have 12 people interested in interviews just after the first week. I've conducted 4 interviews, kind of a 5th one. That person was interested in doing it just via a written interview, so I sent them all of my questions. So I have 5 people done of the 12, and I'm hoping to schedule some more in upcoming days. So not sure at what pacing I can do. Each interview is taking about an hour or so. And I try to put in maybe an hour a day. So if I only do that, that kind of fills my day with extra stuff, or if I do any illustration stuff. So maybe 5 a week if I can, and kind of get through this initially, and hopefully more will follow. And I've told the people that I've interviewed to spread the word to other people that may be of interest or have interest. Really, this goes beyond just writing a book, because the purpose of doing the interviews is to get those oral histories into special collections at Kent State for future generations. So obviously from these interviews I'm going to glean whatever information I can to add that into the book. But ultimately that's why I want to do these. It's just so they're kind of safe for future generations. So that's a quick update on week 14. Week 15 is right around the corner. This update's a couple days later than I normally do it, because I've just been busy doing the interviews. And yeah, so we're kind of finishing up April of 2020, and the coronavirus thing is still going with no end in sight of getting the shutdown stopped. Albeit some states are interested in starting, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're quite there yet. So that's it from here, and on to week 15. Bye now.